Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jake Kerr, I'm from BLXCK INK, and today I'm joined by Brock Nelson, who has just recently finished a 5,000 kilometre trek on his push bike with your brother and...
Stepdad.
Stepdad?
Yeah.
Bloody oath. Took you 33 days.
33 days.
Where'd you start?
So we started from Dunsborough, Western Australia, finished up on Surfers Paradise on the Gold Coast.
Rightio. So when you're, like, obviously you go Dunsborough, Bunbury, Perth, from there, are you, like, taking the traditional cross the Nullarbor?
Yeah, so from Perth we went up north to Coolgardie, which probably wasn't the most ideal route. It was probably took an extra, I don't know, say an extra couple of 100 Ks.
Yeah.
But yeah, we obviously had to stop in Perth. We had family there, so we wanted to do like a little send-off sort of thing. And,
Yeah.
So we did that. Went up to Coolgardie, down to Norseman, I feel.
Yeah.
And then down to, I think it's Balladonia, and then across the Nullarbor.
Yeah,
so,
bloody oath.
Yeah.
All of those names, that the only time you ever need to know them is like how many Ks they are away on that green sign.
Oh yeah.
Man.
And, yeah, I think we went through that many towns, and yeah, my memory's not the best to start off with, so it's just lucky I've got a lot of photos to go back.
Yeah,
and,
bloody oath.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those things, like I've done it on the Harley a couple of times and we've got it coming up in March.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, you think with even all that time, and we're moving at like 5 times the speed you are, right? Even when you have all that time to remember, you think like, there is no way I won't remember the order of all these towns when I get off the bike. A week later, someone says like, you know, like Balladonia, and like, is that on the east or the west side?
Yeah, you got absolutely no idea. But yeah, we made it a thing where we'd stop at coming into every town, there'd obviously be like a little green sign or like a welcome sign. So we made sure that we stopped, got a photo next to that.
Bloody oath.
Just for memes. So.
Oh, that'd be a cool little collage board to have all those signs, dude. So how many Ks are you doing a day?
So overall we averaged 150.
Yeah.
Which is not. It's not a big deal. Like when all you have to do every day is cycle.
Yeah.
Jump on a bike and cycle. It's really 150 Ks is not that bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, some days we do more. We did a few 200K days. There was a day there where I ended up doing 300 Ks, which was, so 130 of that was with my brother and stepdad.
Yep.
And then it was a great day. Like we had a great wind behind us. My legs felt great.
Oh, just take it.
Pretty much. So we stopped, and we were sort of cruising at not a slow pace, but a pace that I was quite comfortable with, and I was like, fuck it, I want to really see what my legs are worth.
Yeah.
So I got a little saddle pack off my mum, just with like the basics in it: phone charger, clothes.
Because it's only you going ahead, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
And because I just wanted to basically really put my body through the cleaners, sort of thing, and so yeah, I took off, met him in, I think the next town was Broken Hill, which was 200 and whatever Ks away.
Sick.
And I was like, yeah, see you later. So yeah, I probably went a little bit too hard though.
Yeah.
Like I went into a bit of a sicko mode, or switched off, all my pain sort of went away, and then I met him in Broken Hill the next day.
Dude, that's it's funny, like I watch fighters in the UFC, and like you said, they break their foot or they do something crazy and they go back in and keep fighting.
Yeah.
And it's like, rarely do you get moments in your life where you're there and doing it. And like, I think that situation is a brilliant one where you saw something and you grab it with both hands. You're like, this might hurt me more tomorrow. I don't care. I'm in it. I want to stay in it.
Yeah.
You know, how cool is that?
I was more than happy to, like, we were probably maybe 80 Ks into that day, and just just that moment in time, I was like, fuck, we should do a big one.
Yeah.
And I was more than happy to do it with Jed and Liam, my stepdad and little brother. But they were comfortable just sitting at 25K an hour.
Yeah.
And to do 25K an hour for 300 Ks, they would have been
it's
riding at like 9 o'clock at night sort of thing. So yeah, I was like, yeah, right, I'll get going, and
see what's possible.
Yeah.
Obviously, like the only safety you've got is kind of checking in with the mobile once you get there, eh?
Pretty much, yeah. So what we did, we had a good little system. So obviously we had a great support crew with my mum and my little sister. They had they had a caravan set up, and honestly, man, some days it felt like they were working harder than what we were.
Yeah.
Just with like the caravan that we had was, or that we have is a wind-up caravan. The beds
Oh yeah,
pop
yeah.
out on the side, so
You just jumping on the saddle and going.
pretty much, yeah.
Yeah,
So you know, Mum we'd get up, have our breakfast, get some food. We'd take off. Mum would have to pack down the van, get on the road.
Yeah.
By the time she'd done all that and met up with us, it was pretty much halfway. So
Wow.
we'd have our lunch on the side of the road,
Yeah.
and then she'd take off to the next spot
Bloody
where
hell,
we were
she was
camping.
working just as hard. That's amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
And also sitting at bloody, because that second half, is she then sitting behind you guys?
Nah, so she'll take off. She'll go to where we were camping.
Oh yeah, that would have been a heartbreak to sit at 25 k's an hour,
Oh yeah,
watching 3 dudes on bikes.
yeah.
Rough.
Yeah. So yeah, when I did that big day, I met her at the. So she went and set up where they were staying.
Yeah.
And then I met her at the New South Wales, South Australian New
Yeah.
South Wales border.
Yep.
I think. Yeah. So basically, just to get some more food, I had phone service there, so I booked the hotel room.
Yep.
And just obviously got the photo next to the border sign, and then took off.
Bloody hell.
But yeah.
That's so when you say a decent pace, what are we talking? Like I've got a little bit of cycling history. We just like 25 is cruising.
Yeah.
I mean, it's perfect for what you're doing. The application's great, but I imagine we were like 30, 33 maybe?
Yeah, so that extra 170 or whatever I did by myself, I was sort of sitting around 35.
Right.
Yeah, sometimes, obviously downhill I'd be cruising at say nearly 40, and then but just with the winds that I had and stuff, it was I was pushing it around 35, 36.
That's sick. And the tailwind would have been guaranteed because you don't really change direction.
Not really, no.
That's
So,
nuts.
obviously there's a few windy roads, and it started getting a little bit hilly towards Broken Hill.
Yeah.
But yeah, and with you might know with road bikes, so Liam and Jed, they had road bikes with road tyres, the skinny tyres. I had a gravel bike, so
Oh, wild.
So still a road frame, just with gravel
Yeah.
knobblies on it, and stuff like that. So I think the speed is a little bit different on those.
I think you'd be
bikes,
putting a little
but-
bit more wattage out as well if you've got a bit thicker tyres, more footprint, and especially with like knobblies on it. That's crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
What was the idea behind sticking with choosing those tyres?
So mainly when we're on the Nullarbor, and if there's, because you get huge trucks out there.
Yep.
And most of the time they're all pretty good. Like, especially, I noticed like 50 Ks on either side of a town or a city, truckies and even like people driving cars, they just turn into, they don't like cyclists.
Yeah.
And sometimes we're sort of forced to be on close to the road,
Yep.
if not on the road, because because of the road conditions. Like, some of them are pretty average.
Oh yeah, so you do have to cruise in onto the road.
yeah,
sort of thing. Hey,
yeah,
it's
so-
all good. Good girl. I seen you.
But yeah, so the idea of the gravel bike was just to, if there's trucks coming either side,
Yeah.
or either end, then we have to jump off the road into the gravel.
Yep.
And obviously on a road bike, the boys had to stop, because
Yeah,
I
true.
could sort of just keep coasting, and
It's either stop or eat it with your hip and shoulder. Eh?
pretty much there was speaking of crashing, I had a crash. I had a small crash. I think it was on maybe like the 4th day.
Yep.
And that was on the road. We weren't doing any silly paces. I was lucky enough. I sort of maybe, I don't know, a few little scratches and stuff like that. But yeah, everyone had a crash. Liam, my stepdad, he had a crash just coming into camp.
These are all separate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, push bikes they're shits of things. You can come off doing nothing, and most of the time it's low speed, doing nothing at all. It's not when you're pumping a corner full lean, got your outside foot down and stuff.
Yeah.
It's just like you go to get out of your clip and it doesn't come out for some reason.
It's exactly what happened to Liam and Jed. Like,
Yeah.
coming into camp at the end of the day, you're pretty smoked. Your body's tired.
Yeah.
And I think, some of the spots, like where Liam crashed, it was sort of just trying to cruise through a bit of sand or whatever on a road bike's pretty sketchy. And
Once it washes, eh?
and then couldn't clip out and went down. And then same with Jed as well. Just couldn't clip out in time.
So how'd you come up with the concept of riding across the country? What was the inspiration?
So it was Liam my stepdad, he's always been a great cyclist.
Hey, you're a good girl. You're a good girl. Come on. Come on. It's just a door. You're all right.
Yeah, so he's always been into cycling, and he's a bit of a freak of nature when it comes to fitness.
Oh, yeah?
So it's always been his dream to cycle across Australia with his son Jed.
Yep.
So, yeah, that was sort of, the whole idea was Liam's, thing, and then they sort of told me about it, and I was like, yeah,
Count me in.
Yeah, I'm going with you for sure. And like Liam's done it himself from Perth to Adelaide before.
Really?
Yeah.
Fuck that noise, dude.
That's what I'm gonna do next year.
Yeah?
Yeah, for sure.
Book it in.
That's my next goal. But yeah, so it was sort of it just was meant to be a family thing, like Jed's 16, so, and at the end of the day, he's got no interest in cycling whatsoever. So for him, it was a huge thing. Like it was sort of his little entry into manhood as well, if you will.
Yeah.
So, they came up with that idea, and at the time, Jed was like, "Yeah, sweet, let's do it."
Yep.
And then, I think with the whole training side of it as well, I think Jed realised that, the training wasn't. We didn't really do that much training, to be honest.
Yeah.
But,
It's hard to train for something like that unless you're doing 150 Ks a day back to back.
But yeah, like I think maybe 2 days into it, on our second day when we were in Perth at the family's house, at that point, Jed was like, he was done.
Yeah.
And I think that's sort of, we were all sort of sitting there like tired as hell. We knew we still had like freaking
everything to do.
4,500 Ks to go.
Yeah.
And it was kind of the point where we were like, oh, what are we doing? But we got it done.
I think it's especially like I was privileged when I was younger to have these experiences where I was pushed so far out of what my like ceiling of potential kind of was. And I think it's funny you say like that almost like earning your manhood sort of thing or something like this. Like I think it doesn't happen enough with people. Like 16 years old and cycling across the country, it sounds bizarre when you say it out loud, but when you put it against like the measure of living life as an adult, that shit is easy.
Yeah.
Wait, your mum's following you with 2-minute noodles and shit on the go? Hey, who cares?
Yeah.
Go have some fun. Figure out what you can do on a bike.
Yeah, exactly.
What and I love the fact that it started as there's always been a feeling of like wanting to do that ride as father and son. That's gangster,
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was just such an amazing experience, man. Like along the way, we met some amazing people.
Yeah.
And I think, as a whole, like I decided to put the whole mental health fundraising onto it because obviously, it was just meant to be a family thing. I was like, no way, let's raise some money,
Yeah.
Because I've always been interested in helping people and whatever way it may be.
Yep.
So we did that, and just the people we met along the way, it was inspirational for sure.
Dude, those Roadhouse connections are crazy.
Oh yeah.
Some of those fucking I remember when we did this Brighter Days is why we go across to Victoria on Harleys. It's this festival called Brighter Days.
Yep.
So we normally take like 4 or 5 days depending on what mood we're in, sort of thing.
Yep.
And we had this one stretch where the whole way, I don't know whether it was the whole way there or the whole way back, but we kept on, there was this oversized load and he would leave like before us and get in after us. And we'd always pass him in the middle of the day. And then, after day 2, we're like, and you're his pilot. They're like, yeah, come over here, have some drinks of that. Fuck, man. After those 3, like on the 3rd night, we're like, we'll never see each other again. You're like, you fucking have a good life.
Yeah.
Like how interesting those little situations are, the people that you meet and the conversations you're having. Crazy. So tell us, how much money did you raise? And you're still raising money now, aren't you?
Yeah, we are. So it's sort of slowed down a little bit now. So we've obviously got our GoFundMe page set up. We're at 16,000 on the GoFundMe, just
wild.
From word of mouth. Obviously the journey along the way, and then sort of like a little Instagram post I did prior to the ride.
Yeah.
And then I've also done a work raffle as well, work Christmas raffle that's raised another 7,800. So we're at 24,000 or
That's
whatever.
so much money.
So much money, man. We had a goal of 10,000.
Yeah.
So it's just like blows my mind. It's
That
awesome.
is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. I know, it's so cool. And
So what's the time frame? When are you gonna stop raising money or put a cap to it, sort of thing?
so I'm meeting with the guy from the work Christmas raffle on Thursday in Perth.
Yeah.
So we'll basically do a handshake. We'll get the money from him.
Yep.
Have like a little barbecue, a little catch up.
Yeah.
And then hopefully next week, basically before I have to go back to work, I want to try and do it this break so we can get it over and done with. And yeah, I'll meet up with the lady that we're donating the money to.
Yep. What is the organisation that you're donating to?
So it's called Kai Fella Foundation. So to start off, it's kind of a funny story. We were just sitting around. We were sitting in a pub. I'm not sure where it was. I think it might have been in Queensland somewhere.
Yep.
I think we had like 4 days to go.
Yep.
And originally we were going to fundraise for Beyond Blue.
Yep.
And Headspace, but Mum sort of wanted something a little different. She wanted to donate the money into a smaller, thriving charity.
More like mum and pop sort of setup.
Pretty much. So yeah, she was doing some research and she came across this Kai Fella Foundation and or Kai Erdley Foundation as well. So sitting there, she showed me it, and turns out I actually went to school with Kai Erdley.
Okay.
When we were 13, 14.
Yeah.
Used to hang out with him a fair bit. Used to do a bit of skating with him and stuff
Wild,
like that.
yeah,
It was
okay.
crazy, man. And then he unfortunately took his own life when he was 19.
Right.
So his mum set up this foundation, Kai Fella.
Yeah.
And then mum showed me this. Because I moved down south, so I lost contact with a lot of that group.
Yeah.
And I knew that he had took his own life, but I didn't realise that his mum went any further with it.
Yeah.
So as soon as mum showed me that, I was like, wow,
Yeah, sold.
that's crazy, done deal. So Kai Fella Foundation, it's a good little thing they've got going on, and
Yep.
it's for a great cause for suicide prevention for kids. So,
Audio.
yeah,
So the whole name of this ride was This Is Mental.
this is mental. Yeah,
So how'd you come up with the name?
I think that was like mum's sort of idea. Like, obviously, the whole idea was mental.
Yeah. I think it's very fitting.
Yeah,
Because like you got 1 out of 3 gentlemen who have cycling experience, and you're like, oh, let's do it the most extreme way we can.
yeah,
you
pretty
know?
much. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it sort of worked, and obviously we're fundraising for mental health, so
Yep.
that's what we came up with, and seemed to have worked.
Here's one for you. So we were just talking before we started recording about your job.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing, I've spoken about this a couple times on the podcast now, is the mentality behind these crazy periods that you're spending away from home with a fly out job. And I wasn't currently aware that you worked on rigs. That's kind of like amazing to me. So you spend 4 weeks at a time on a rig.
Yep.
And 4 weeks at home afterwards is like what's the other R stand for? Recovery.
Recovery, yeah.
So that's pretty fucking isolated. Like, that's a totally separate experience. How have you found yourself? Like, have you noticed a difference in like your character or your personality before and during that experience?
Yeah, I have. It's kind of, I'm not sure. Like, it's hard. I'm not really. Nothing really phases me at all.
Yeah.
So I'm not really a thinker. If anything, I'm probably an underthinker. Sometimes I double book myself for all the time and things like that. But I think I had to dedicate my training and everything to this ride. Even when I was out on the rig,
Yep.
it was actually quite hard. It's quite a physical job what we do out there. It's boiling hot.
Yeah.
Surrounded by water, so it's super humid. And
Oh yeah, of course. Where are you geographically located?
so at the moment we're just off the coast of Exmouth.
Right.
But then next month we head over to Singapore for a couple of months.
Yep.
And then come back, and so most of our work is based around sort of Karratha, all like the northwest, basically.
You can't see land from where you are, though, can you?
At the moment, we can. Yeah, we're
yeah?
not far. There's like a little oil field off Exmouth. So,
cool.
Or yeah, just we can see land, but when we're up near Karratha and all that sort of thing, we can't.
That would be fucking the scary part for me, when you can't see land, when you're like, oh, we're in the middle of fuck all. And on I think the man-made structure part of it scares the shit out of me as well. Because like everything's just like ladders and that grid mesh, isn't it?
Yep.
Dude, that's nuts.
It's pretty cool. And yeah, like when you see people that go out there for the first time, it's you know, you can tell that they haven't necessarily been offshore before.
You hear them crying in their crib room or something?
Yeah. No, but yeah, just they're always so overwhelmed by the sea life and stuff like that out there. There's always, you know, thousands and thousands of big sharks and fish and whale sharks and
wild
sea snakes that just around the rig the whole time. So yeah, they get pretty overwhelmed by that. And
that's pretty nuts.
Yeah, you get used to it though. It's just one of those things.
Well, realistically, it's just a change of scenery, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
I remember my first day truck driving with I keep going to call them Giarchis with MGM Cube with Cube.
Yeah.
Such a stoner. But when my first day driving, and the bloke who was in the cab with me is like, oh, you got to look out for snakes sometimes, you know. And just coincidentally, that day was the most amount of snakes anyone had seen ever. And like there was literally sitting in the cab, there was like 12 massive snakes that we were like sitting there counting on all the dunes around us. And it's like you can't get out of the truck.
No.
Like tipping a trailer, fuck the trailer. We're just getting out of here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I guess, you know, you just replace those dunes with water, and that's kind of what you get. So that is fucking news to me. Tell me more about these animals. What's a crazy experience you've had seeing an animal while on shift?
Yeah, I don't know. We can't exactly do anything with them. We're supposed to sort of report them and stuff like that. But yeah, just huge whale sharks, I guess, that they just seem like they're so placid and you know, friendly, I guess. But
just kind of sitting there.
Yeah, they just float around, man. They just, because the water's so clear out there, so obviously they can feed off whatever's coming off the side of the rig, like
right.
And then obviously we put all of our leftover scraps in a mincer sort of thing, and then we basically feed them.
Oh, so they're encouraged to hang around the rig anyway. It's
Pretty
free
much,
food.
yeah.
Wild. Okay. So is there any sort of like when you're there? Is there a dedicated area to like mental support on the rig at all?
Not really.
That's interesting.
It's, I mean, you know, obviously every company, well, basically these days every company, you know, it's mental health and stuff like that is such a huge sort of deal at the moment. So they do send like support emails, and there's assistance programs and stuff that you can call or you can text or whatever else. But as far as flying people out there to talk,
that's a dedicated job. Yeah, it's not a thing.
They don't do that.
I feel like, you know, in theory and saying it out loud now, it sounds like a great idea. The reality is, like, especially the old school, you send someone like that out there, that person will have to leave because they'll get teased so hard. Like, that's a reality. I don't know why that there's something tied to masculinity where it's like, even the thought of taking free help is not an option. You know? That's the real problem with mental health. Is not the fact that like, oh, how do I get help if I need help? It's the fact that we have this automatic pushback. Well, I got my life sorted out. Fuck you. You know?
Yeah.
So it's like, how do you fix that problem? I think that'd be I don't know what I'm talking about. Honestly, man, I've been out of like the real world for too long now. Like people tell me about stuff in workplaces. I'm like, sounds like you got a bullshit problem. But also, I haven't been in the same workplace dealing with the same people I didn't choose to work with for months or years.
And every workplace is different as well. I'm sure you have a few of your own little struggles in your sort of industry and your side of work as well, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just, and like, this is one thing I go back to. I did fly in, fly out. I did 8 and 6 for like, you know, a year or something.
Yeah.
And that's when I was 19 or 20.
Yeah, right.
So obviously when you're like 20, you don't have all the tools yet. You know? So, and like everything's like now, like I turned 30 the other day, so I feel like I can say this with a bit of confidence, but like everything is just so testosterone fueled.
Yeah.
You know, like you get jealous at the drop of a hat, you get worried about shit that doesn't exist, you overthink the wrong things. And I think at the time I was also with someone who was probably extremely fucking toxic, which didn't help either, you know? And my life just completely fucking went from like in control to out of control and no idea how to get it back in control. And it was purely because I was in this lifestyle.
Yeah.
You know? And the fact that there's no like I know it sounds silly, but there's no like relationship advice. Like when, you know, if you've never done fly and fly out before and the company's taken you on, they're like, here's 150 grand and this lifestyle and this, that. Hey, just so you know, focus on this in your relationships. Do this with your money.
Yeah.
Make sure you get to bed on time. Really prioritize not letting your habits get out of hand, like drinking or being at the mess and, you know, being part of the banter.
Yeah.
There's none of that.
There's none of that.
Dude, rock up, put the uniform on, take our money and fuck off.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep. Yeah, they definitely push you to your limits, and I know that obviously from working out there, it's a totally different world. Like I was saying before, it's you know, you can't exactly. Most of the time, we have no phone service. The Wi-Fi out there is very average.
Yeah, so it's just no internet basically.
Nah, and they just you know, when you're connected to their Wi-Fi and stuff, it's almost like they block out so many sort of things that you can look at online and stuff like that, even if it's just like, I don't know, you want to go on real estate or you want to look for stuff to do with your lifestyle outside of work and they've blocked it. So
really?
Yeah, it's kind of, you know, it's they're trying to get rid of the whole social life side of thing almost, and yeah, it's kind of hard.
Oh, I guess that would almost be an effort to help with mental health, because it's like if like I know sitting at home with like motorbikes and cars and friends and community, I look at shit going on Instagram and my heart hurts because I'm like, oh, fuck, I don't have that car. Fuck, I don't have that bike. Fuck, I wasn't invited to that thing.
Yeah.
So I can imagine completely ironing out as much of that as possible while you're in that situation is probably a really fucking healthy thing to do.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That so tell me about, I know there's at least one bloke out there that has only ever done working on rigs and he's fucking 60 years old. Tell me that guy exists.
Oh, surely not.
I know. I read that book ages ago. Don't tell my mum I work on the rigs. She thinks I'm a piano player in a whorehouse. Have you read?
No.
Oh, dude, it's a fucking wild book. And it's of I think he was a Perth boy, and he spent most of his life working on rigs. And the stories he has is nuts. And it was always the real cowboy old blokes that had been there forever, didn't give a fuck about the safety rules, just did things there. Well, I've been fucking rigged me whole life, mate. What do you know?
Yeah.
Oh, I'd fang to meet one of those blokes at a pub, eh?
Oh, yeah. He'd have a totally different attitude and mindset, I feel. I don't see myself being that guy, that's for sure.
Yeah, bloody oath.
Yeah.
Bloody oath. And that's what you were saying earlier, like having that, like, right, here's how long I'm going to do it. Here's the money I'm going to earn. Here's how I'm going to spend it.
Yeah.
Is that sort of what you've got mapped out for yourself?
Yeah, so I set myself like a 5-year plan. Hopefully, you know, I can stick to that, which I am so far. I'm so close to buying my own place now. Also, I want to do some study. I want to go and do start off with my Cert 3 and 4 in health and fitness.
Yeah.
And then hopefully maybe eventuate into my degree in exercise and sports science.
Heavy.
Because, yeah, I don't, you know, from all of my experience now from getting into the fitness side of things with like my long distance running and cycling and even just like racing motocross my whole life and stuff like that. Always been around sports, always been so interested in sports.
Yeah.
And just recently I've been able to really discover what happens with my body in particular with training and basically putting it to the test. So I've found a real interest in that, and I want to be able to, and I also love helping people.
Yeah, okay.
So I want to be able to, I don't really want to be like your average personal trainer in a gym lifting weights and telling people, you know, your body looks great and all that sort of thing. I'd rather work one-on-one with professional athletes, ideally.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a long road ahead as well.
Dude, I think the more ambitious the goal, the easier it is to get.
Yeah, you shoot for the stars, right?
Bro, like I'm refreshing my like all my goal setting and shit. Obviously, end of the year, just turned 30. I'm doing a lot of reflection, a lot of like looking forward.
Yeah.
And bro, in reflection, like I set 10 wild goals and achieved 9 of them. You know, it's like every time, like this is the thing. As soon as you go like, I think I wouldn't mind doing maybe this, and if I was doing this, I'd do this as well, and this on the side.
Yeah.
Well, what you've just eliminated is a whole bunch of shit that you know you wouldn't do. So that becomes a lot more, like, even if it is, you know, I want to be a fucking astronaut, it's like, well, cool, that is a long road. But if you want to be an astronaut, if you're dead serious about it, here's your timeline.
Yeah.
Here's 10 years from now, and you can step every single fucking day out until today.
Yeah.
You know?
And stick to it as well, yeah.
Yeah, bloody oath. And I think 5 years to get that amount of education under your belt is, and especially as a mature age, like, it's fucking very attainable, you know?
Yeah. And I've been lucky enough to sort of grow up with guys at a professional level as well. Mainly from like racing motocross and stuff like that I can sort of look towards and potentially work with, or you know, professionals. Like surfing has always been an interest to me.
Yeah.
And I know that surfing is very tough on your body as well when you're at a professional level. So being able to work with the surfer would be like my ultimate goal.
Right. I know that I don't know surfing intimately. I do know enough about motocross and also the sport that I'm now finding myself involved with. These niche activities where like sports science hasn't quite made their way there yet. I think there's a lot of room for people who have that background knowledge, who have that interest in like not just like, you know, PT in a gym, but that high end like, nah, I want to get you down to your best possible version of yourself.
Yeah.
Like I know for me, like there's no real gym program for being a stunt rider. Like that's my long-term goal. I want to be a stunt rider on a Harley. Yeah. What do you do in the gym for that? You know? So it's like I see there's so many opportunities for like, right, if you go, I'm going to have this skill set or this, you know, knowledge set in 4 years time, to find that, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people in that right sport, man, you can set yourself up with something that's also hugely financially like beneficial in the long run.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, imagine aligning yourself with a very niche sort of surfer who, because of your program, gets them to the level where they're being sponsored by Red Bull, and now you're traveling with them to these different things.
That's the ultimate goal, right?
Man,
for sure.
Fuck. And to own 6 Harleys.
Yeah, at least, yeah.
Have you ever owned a Harley?
I haven't, no.
No, you've only been dirt, eh?
Only been dirt bikes. Had like dirt bikes, mini bikes, and yeah, obviously cycle bike and mountain bike. But this is the first actual road bike that I've owned. Like I bought it. I bought it 6 months before the ride across Australia to train on. Yeah. The rest of it's just been mountain bike and dirt bikes.
What do you think of the roadie? How do you feel?
Yeah, I don't mind it. Like
they're such a small feeling bike.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, and they're very light.
Yeah.
You know, obviously I'm quite tall and I'm not sort of, I guess, not your average cyclist that are always really small and everything like that.
Yeah, quite lean.
So I'm quite top end heavy on the cycle bike, but I've sort of set it up for myself so it's comfortable, got good balance. Yeah.
How like upright are you? I imagine you'd be quite bent over, but you still wouldn't be like fully parallel or anything crazy.
No, so there's the only thing I've set it up for myself. I set it up by myself, to make it comfortable for me, but I need to get it properly. You can get those road bikes professionally fitted, so they put like these. They put you on like a machine on the bike. They have like these different sort of like measurement tools and stuff like that to measure how far you are leaning over, your seat height, your pedal position, like your clip-ins on your shoes. Yeah. You know, everything. They set it up completely. So
back in the day, you just fucking put the seat up a little bit. Yeah, about there. That's good.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And that's pretty much what I did with myself. I need to get it professionally fitted, but I still feel comfortable on it for sure. And you know, I was able to do what we did without any major
adjustments or changing
injuries
shit
or anything like that. Yeah, or any pains. So,
yeah, bloody oath.
Yeah.
I think it's really interesting. You know. Going back to like stunt riding, I fucking have like my Grom, I've done nothing to like at all. I put a wheelie bar on it, that's it. And it's like you see these blokes that go out and they get like the Grom and the Pro Tapers and the exhaust and the crash bounce and the grips and this and that, and they're still just as good at wheelies as what I am. Yeah. You know? And I think it's interesting, like, you know, you take something like, okay, cool, I'm going to ride across Australia. That bike looks like it'll do the job, disc brakes, my size, let's go for it. You fit it yourself and you go and ride 5,000 fucking kilometers. It's like, man, that same strategy applies to everything. You know, it's like you want to write a book, you got a pen and paper, write the book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as far as like, I don't know, I get asked this question a lot with like, how was my bum and
Yeah.
how are my legs and things like that. Like, man, everything was fine.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like, I honestly thought it was, I thought it was going to be a lot harder, that's for sure. I think there was, I don't know whether, obviously, yeah, Liam, stepdad, he's a freak on a bike, but he does have some small issues with his knees.
Yep.
So he was happy cruising, and then also Jed, 16, he broke his ankle at the skate park 6 days before the ride.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, that's another story. And then,
Wait, how pissed was Mum on that day?
oh yeah, she wasn't, or she was more just stressed for sure. I think we all were. But at the same time, it was good rehab for his ankle.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, because it's moving and it's no impact.
basically, yeah.
Right.
Just trying to have as little load on it as possible, finding like a good cadence on the bike to be able to just, so it's not loading your ankle up.
Damn, I bet you he was thinking, yeah, that night in Perth, like, maybe if I didn't have a broken ankle, this would be a little bit easier.
Yeah,
you know?
that's exactly what was going through his head, and I think that's another thing that, you know, he learnt so much along the ride, because he went from being, you know, he's a great little kid and he's super fit, so I think he learnt a lot about his mental capacity as well.
Yep.
You know, it wasn't an issue for me mentally, wasn't an issue for Liam. He's probably more mentally strong than what I am.
Yeah.
And you know, Jed, we definitely thought he was going to be, we thought he was going to struggle a little bit more, but man, towards the end he was, you know, there was some parts where we'd be, or in a headwind, or even we'd be, you know, the last 5 to 10 Ks of the day, going into camp, we'd always try and push to, just because we were so close, you know, we wanted to get
boys.
there.
Yeah.
We were pushing hard, and we'd look back and Jed was right there behind us, you know.
Yeah.
And for a 16-year-old, he's not that big either, so.
Doing the damn thing.
Yeah.
That's sick.
Yeah.
Was there, did you find towards the end there was maybe a slight pickup in pace?
Yeah, we were more comfortable with doing, you know, we were averaging, most days we sort of average 27, 28k an hour.
Yeah.
And that was, we started becoming like happy to do that.
Yeah.
Whereas at the start, we sort of wanted to figure out what we were comfortable with.
Yeah.
Because, you know, for a ride of that, for like that much distance on a cycle bike, you've got to really settle in for long days, sort of thing. And especially when you get a day of headwind, or there was a few days there where we had bad headwind, or we had a bit of elevation, like Mundaring Hills. We had like the Great Dividing Range at the end.
Oh yeah.
There's a few other ranges that we went through. I think past like Peterborough in, I think that's in South Australia. I'm not sure. But, yeah. So those were the tougher days, but we got through them quite easily, really.
Yep.
Like,
I think you get to a point where you're like, okay, I've done 150 Ks minimum a day for however many days.
Yeah.
Like, I know what it is. I know exactly what it is. And I know that if I just put that extra 10% in, like just for a minute at a time, every like 5 or 10 minutes, I don't know how, that's how I used to ride, is like I'll just do things in these increments. I know that it's not going to kill me, you know? And I think that's the one thing you're scared of, is you're like, you don't want to be the guy on the side of the road who's just like, I can't do this anymore, it hurts too much, my bum's sore, you know? And it's like, you know, you're not going to be that guy. So and I think organically, 3 boys, I know when Dad and I have that last day, we can make a 2-day trip into one. You know, you're just like, let's get home.
Absolutely.
Let's do it.
Yeah. And, you know, the whole time, basically, I was thinking that that's sort of what's motivated me to do this Adelaide ride by myself, was like, dude, someone ran that distance.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the whole time I was thinking, we basically did the same sort of route. We obviously did a little bit longer. We did from one side of the country literally to the furthest other side. But, you know, the whole time, even in tough days and stuff like that, I was like, man, someone has ran this.
Yeah.
You know, like, pull your head in and keep going.
And that is fucking mental.
I know. It is ridiculous.
Wait.
Elite.
Was there crossover between you and that Ned character?
No. So he finished it. He finished it before we started.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically the same until somewhere in New South Wales, we basically went exactly the same route as him.
Yeah.
And then I think he may have avoided some of the floods, or he was finishing when it was getting really intense.
When it was cranking, yeah.
Yeah, so we were a little bit later, so we had to basically add on 2 to 3 extra days to go like straight north, outback Queensland to up to Burke.
Oh, so you had to change your route because of the floods?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so we added an extra, I think 500 k's or something, because our original route was straight through the middle of the floods, basically.
Right.
And then even some of the days, like outback Queensland, we do a few sort of flood crossings and stuff like that. That only lasts like a minute, but
yep.
Mum didn't have the most experience with towing a caravan with a brand new car sort of thing.
Yeah,
so,
and also with that weird, like, it's just because you're talking about flood crossings where the water's passing over somewhere.
Yep.
And that's really weird because you kind of have to start wide and steer into it the whole time.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if something starts going, everything starts going.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah. So, we did get, I don't know whether it was good luck or good planning, but we managed to get out of it pretty much unscathed. Like a few days where we were getting rained on and things like that, but all in all, we escaped it. So
that's pretty crazy. You had to change your route because of the floods. I think. How did Ned's story get blown up so big? Because I feel like he started with like a very similar starting point as you, but he must have just got more media exposure or something.
Yeah, he got a lot more media exposure. He basically started, I believe he started sort of prepping and I guess advertising, boasting on social media and things like that a year prior.
Oh, okay.
I think anyway. I'm not sure of the full story, but yeah, it was his and obviously his is elite, like. Running it solo is like another level of fucking craziness.
Yeah.
I think, and it wasn't really I'm not, like I said before, I'm not really the most public person when it comes to things like that. Like, I sort of just wanted to get it done with the family and
and if you raise a bit of money along the way,
exactly
cool.
right. Yeah. So I might look at doing something, with this next little adventure. I'll probably look at doing something a little bit more, a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
Because I'm sort of doing it by myself, and I want to do it.
I wonder if there's something you can do there to make it because I think like Ned's story was really sexy. You know what I mean? Like I'm running across the country. Fucking wow, we know Australia's huge.
Yeah.
But I wonder if there's something you could do with a bike that you're doing it on a unicycle or something.
I need to learn how to ride a unicycle first.
Fuck that noise, dude. But yeah, that's that would be cool to. Well, our original plan, because we sat down months and months ago, and I wanted to try and get a Bunnings sausage sizzle, like Black Ink hosted, but for the idea of going towards your fundraiser.
Yeah.
And just life happened. Of course, it didn't come to fruition.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm still super keen to like knowing that that's going to happen next year. It's like, ooh, how can we make that fun?
Yeah.
That'd be really cool.
That's what I want to do. I want to set. It'll be. I sort of want to start planning now because I want to do it I want to put my body through hell basically. So I want to do it I want to do Perth to Adelaide in 12 days, which is 12 days or under. I don't want to do it in any more than 12 days. So that's around close to 250 k's a day.
Yeah.
No matter what the conditions are, I'm doing it.
Is this with a support team or by yourself?
If I can get a support team, yeah.
Yeah.
But it won't be like a big deal with the family. It'll be me sort
You
of.
stink. Fucking fart. And she did this all last podcast too.
So if I can get a little support team for sure, maybe, but just something basic like someone that can help me with my food and fluids and things like that, and spare tubes. And
maybe not a caravan. You just need a Ford Transit van behind you, actually.
Yeah, so
that'd be perfect.
I thought about just doing it by myself, or not by myself, but just doing it without fundraising. But fuck that, I'll fundraise again.
You're doing something cool.
Yeah,
for sure.
But I'll fundraise again, and then that way I might be able to get some sponsorship. Maybe even get like sponsored like one of those big sort of Brits vans. Because I know they on our last trip there was a lady doing roughly the same sort of thing, and she had sponsored this big Brits camper van type setup, like those big sprinters.
Yeah.
And which was perfect.
Dude, I think that's only a couple of the right conversations with a couple of the right people. Like, that's definitely doable.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm half thinking I want to do it with you, but you want to do it alone, so I'm fucking...
No, I'm keen to do it. It's just an idea that I came up with, I think, like yesterday.
Dude, Adelaide in under 12 days.
Yeah.
That sounds like hell, dude. I'm fucking keen on doing that if you'll have a tag along. That'd be sick.
I can't wait, man.
I reckon we could we could definitely make that happen. Get a little support team. Bro, I reckon we could almost get the boys around this, not even get sponsors. Obviously get sponsors to pay for it, but fuck.
All we need is a rooftop tent and like a tray so I can put a swag in there or something and I'm set. And a fridge with food, frozen food. And
the only reason I say a fucking Ford Transit van is because Dad just put a deposit down on one. But you got to wait.
You?
Yeah, he's got a bloody BA tray, 1 tonner.
Yeah.
Which when you've got a fucking flat tray, you don't realise you use it for everything.
Yeah.
You know, anytime someone in the family has something to do, guess whose ute gets used? So he's like replacing that. He's like, oh, I want a nice ute, but I want something I can throw shit in and out of.
Yeah. And
he saw a transit van the other day and he goes, man, these things are nuts. So he's getting himself one of those. I'm like, yeah, you know, you can fit a Harley with 8 hangers in those things.
Yeah.
They're massive.
Yeah, they are big, and there's plenty of room for, you know, they're ideal. Like stopping at a roadhouse, or some of those roadhouses out there are pretty remote.
Yep.
Along the Nullarbor and things like that. So having your own little space undercover at like a powered site, it's cheap as.
Yeah.
And then, you know, obviously you use their showers or you can take camp showers, but it's ideal.
To be honest with you, like I get where you're coming from. If we're doing 250 k's a day, need a bed. I reckon. Need a fucking bed in a room with a running tap and everything.
Yeah, yeah.
I'd almost look at getting some sort of corporate sponsorship to provide that along the way. Because I reckon like doing 250, that's serious.
Yeah, it's
Dude, that's like Tour de France numbers.
Yeah. Well, it'll be probably 8.5 hours on a bike every day.
Bro, we step it up. We race each other to Adelaide.
Okay, done.
Fuck that noise, dude. I would drill myself into the ground. I'm too competitive.
Yeah. No, it'll be a tough stretch for sure, especially with just doing the speeds that
are required.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
250 k's a day, depending on, and if you get a day of headwind and you still have to do those k's, man, it will be tough.
Well, how many hours are you taking to do 150 on a standard sort of day?
So 150 was around 5 hours.
Okay.
Yeah, 5.5 hours. So that was with lunch. Oh, that was, about 5 hours moving time.
Yeah.
So we'd have obviously lunch in between, and you know, I'd stop my computer and things like that. So yeah, it was moving time was around 5 hours.
Yeah. Did you have any rules around like piss breaks?
Nah,
when you got to stop, you got to stop.
Nah, obviously we basically just held onto it for a little while. Like every 50 k's we'd stop to get our food in.
Yeah.
So we'd have gel shots, we'd have energy bars, nut bars, and man, we lived the amount of lolly snakes that we went through, packets of lolly snakes. We'd have one or two of those
sugar.
a day.
Yeah.
Just straight sugar.
Yeah.
And then for lunch we'd have something a little bit more, you know, a little bit healthier, like just basic stuff, peanut butter and jelly sandwich, or something like that, just to get some carbs in.
Carbs, sugar, and not too much to bog you down and make you feel fucking woozy.
Pretty much, yeah. We'd gone through like the amount of Powerade that Mum bought beforehand, and like it's just like ridiculous boxes of it, and we went through all of it. We had to stock up. You know.
Realistically, doing those numbers, you need a support team.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Just to take all of your like consumables.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
When do you want to do this ride?
It would be September.
Fuck yeah.
Because we can do it in my 4 weeks off. We can do it.
Yeah.
With time either side, so we can spend some time celebrating in Adelaide, and things like that, and then fly back, or
I reckon you want to. Yeah. Okay.
Or we could ride back.
No, we can fly back. That's fine. That's part of the sponsorship as well. I need a bed. I need a plane. No, that's what I was trying to avoid. I'm like, if we've got a support crew, we kind of have to drive back with them, and fuck driving back after you've just ridden, you know?
Yeah. I mean, from Adelaide to Perth, you could probably do that in 2 days.
Yeah.
I think it's 2,800 and something kilometres.
Oh, yeah, for sure. You can pump it in, but it's also a 4-hour flight.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
That'd be
Yeah.
sick. Flying to Bustleton, bro, we're there.
Yeah, it's so easy just to pack your bike up in a Qantas box as well. That's what I did on the way back this time, and it was so easy. My family had to drive back, and it was a great experience for them, but I had to go back to reality. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm fucking about this idea, dude. I shouldn't commit too much in a podcast without thinking about it, but I'm almost committing to this.
Yeah.
I'm just like, got to get a bike and that's it.
start training.
The rest we can make happen. Dude, I already train. I'm doing wheelies on that thing every fucking day. I was saying this, I had someone ask the other day at the skate group. You're aware of this skate group that I'm a part of?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see it. I see you posting some stuff all the time. Looks cool.
Dude, it's crazy. This little fucking beautiful communities just blossom out of like people enjoying skating.
Mm-hmm.
You know, now you go down and the only thing that we all have in common is that we like skating.
Yeah.
That's such an awesome, like, I know it sounds hell obvious, but it's like there are people there where I'm like, if we didn't have this, there would be no reason we would communicate with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something so beautiful about interacting with people that you don't, no, I don't want to say don't want to, because it's not that I don't want to.
Yeah.
It's that if they're across the road, I don't cross the road to meet them if I don't know them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Then all of a sudden you're having this talk about their animals or their job or their lifestyle, and you're like, fuck, the world is, there's so much going on all the time.
Yeah.
You know? It's so cool for that. But they're asking, you know, because I'm like pretty strong on skates. Like, do you do any other sort of like exercise of that? I was like, no, not really. Besides riding up the Churchill like twice or three times a day and doing wheelies on the way down, and you know, like pumping it through the main street in your top gear, just ripping a fucking wheelie the whole time. It's like, you think it's just having fun. It's also pushing your body hard as fuck, like interval training,
Yeah.
and having fun at the same time. So you're like, oh, I'm buff, but I want to go again. You know?
Yeah.
It's fucking good.
Yeah, I think with cycling long distance, it's such an escape from. I'm not a thinker, so I just sort of just switch off, and most of my pain and all that sort of thing went away. And then you're on the bike for so long. You know, it's almost like you can almost meditate, sort of thing, like
almost like a cathartic experience.
pretty much, yeah. And you just sort of enjoy some of the places that you go through, and just the experience that at the time is just like amazing. It's the best feeling ever.
How was it the week after, when you had finished and everything had wound down, and obviously you're not spending heaps of time with the family? What was that like?
So yeah, we had 4 days on the Gold Coast. Mum surprised us with this amazing B&B up in I think it was Upper Coomera in Gold Coast.
Sick.
Which was awesome after 33 days of living in the van. You know, if it was off grid or at a roadhouse.
Yep.
You know, it was the best thing, rolling into like these bloody electric gates to this huge house.
Oh yeah.
So we stayed there for 4 days. I think, you know, it was just awesome. Like waking up every morning after it was kind of weird because we didn't have to get on a bike. We didn't have to really do anything.
Yeah.
So it was just a different change of pace, I guess. But you know, along the way, as a family, every night we would sit down and have a debrief. We made that a thing so we could talk about our feelings, whatever it is, whether it's during the day or just in general.
Yeah.
So we were doing that still, even when we were on the Gold Coast. We'd sit down and have dinner, have a few beers, and we would just basically have a debrief, talk about how we were feeling.
That's nice as fuck.
Oh, it's wicked, man.
Yeah.
Post ride, and things like that. And it was cool to listen to how my family was going through it all, and you know, the other boys, and yeah, I think, you know, I got a little bit, I didn't get sick, but my body, I don't know if it's called athlete's gut, but it's kind of like this thing. It's not really the nicest conversation, but you know, my body was turning over so many calories every day. I was averaging like 5,000 calories a day.
Yeah.
And then I would be putting fresh food in, so my body was always so hungry, and then it would basically just turn my food to water. It was pretty bad.
Yeah.
I don't think I was lacking too much energy, but yeah, towards the end, even like that week after, it was just, man, I had to go to the toilet so many times a day and things like that.
Yeah.
My body seemed to be struggling, but I didn't feel sick or anything. But
Yeah.
so I had to deal with that, and then yeah, that was about it. Like just getting back into reality. Obviously, I had to fly home back to work, and that was a bit of a struggle for sure.
Yeah.
Like
The going back to work.
yeah, just from what we did, and every day you're in such a flow state where you have nothing else to do other than jump on a bike
and get in that flow state.
And then spend awesome time with the family and meet great people, and then you got to go back to work and
get back into that regimented.
Yeah.
This, then this, then this, then this. Have your T's crossed and your I's dotted or whatever.
Yeah, I think had like great support, and everyone was sort of following the journey along the way.
Yeah.
So I had awesome support, and I was pretty much talking about it the whole time I was at work. But yeah, just getting back into reality was tough for sure.
Yeah. It's a there's something about two things. You spent 33 days doing it. Your body's built up a routine of we wake up, we get sugar, and we put out effort until it's done, and then we recover.
Yeah.
You know, so I think just building a new routine out of the routine, like I know personally that would fucking destroy me mentally, because like I just got used to this thing and now we're not doing it anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, that fuck, I forgot what I was gonna say after that. I'm bloody blanking. But yeah, I know I was telling you before, when I came back from Europe when I was skating, where it's like, you know, train twice a day, every day.
Yeah.
We got this comp. At the end of the year, we've got nationals or worlds. And you really do get into like just a fucking, I'm a workhorse. Like there's nothing more than the goal, and the goal is whatever it is at the time.
Yeah.
And then as soon as like I was without that, I almost felt like a bit of my purpose had gone. Like I had to redefine, like, right, who exactly am I and what am I trying to do with my day, you know?
Yep.
But yeah, having a, it's almost like a 33-day apprenticeship doing it in the way you've done it.
Yeah, just like a fast track type deal, yeah.
Yeah, bloody oath.
Yeah.
So I think, dude, the more I like think about it, the more excited I get. I think the 12-day part's a bit crazy. We can workshop that, but would it be Bunbury to Adelaide or Perth to Adelaide?
Well, yeah, it can be Bunbury to Adelaide, because we can get some support again from, like, we had support from Mellow Velo. Brad and all the guys there gave us support, and then also Josh from Perrine, and they're based from Bunbury. So it'd be good to, if it's like a huge challenge, 12 days is a big challenge for sure.
Fuck yeah.
So we could do like a little send-off sort of thing in the morning that we start, where, you know, we were going to do that last time around, but just didn't really work out.
Yeah.
But, you know, yeah, I reckon Bunbury to Adelaide for sure.
Yeah, well, I think, like, obviously the first thing that like my concern is like how do I not make it about Black Ink, but how do I get Black Ink involved in it? Obviously, like I want to promote it as much as I can, obviously, to raise as much money as we can, raise as much awareness as we can.
Yep.
And I think getting local businesses on board with this idea is super easy, because it's not just, it's good when like I'm the captain of the Black Ink ship. So it's like, I'm not saying, oh yeah, I'm just giving you the money because you're doing it. It's like, fuck no, I'll put my nuts on the line as well.
Yeah.
Hopefully that would raise a bit more Bunbury attention.
Yeah.
That'd be cool as. And
Yeah,
we've got the advantage.
exposure.
Yeah, it's so far away.
Yep.
We can start talking about this idea now and have it as a fully formed thing 6 months before it happens.
Yeah.
Whew, that's exciting.
Yeah.
I've just learned trying to put together a roller disco in under 2 months, it's impossible.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, with the amount of money and with the amount of like planning and shit you need to do it properly.
Yeah.
Like you can do anything in any amount of time, but to do it properly and not be laughed at for round 2 or have no one show up, you need time. So planning something like this with so much time in advance, it's exciting.
We can get it done.
Very exciting.
And you only need the basics as well, you know.
Yeah, push bike and a support crew.
Yeah.
Whew. Would you stick with the same bike?
I was looking at upgrading my bike anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't see why not. I could just keep this bike. It's fine.
If you're comfortable on it, that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, pretty much.
Be nothing worse than spending $5,000 on a roadie and then being like, I want my other bike back.
Yeah.
You know?
It didn't miss a beat the whole time. Yeah, obviously it had a lot of flat tires and stuff like that, but as far as chains and you know, selecting gears and stuff, it just ran smoothly the whole time.
How many flat tires did you have in total?
So I had none right up until maybe like day 22.
Yeah.
I would say 22. And then we were in outback Queensland, in the middle of absolutely nowhere, really remote. And I had 5 in one day.
Fuck off.
Yeah, so it went through, got a puncture, had a repair kit, patched it, the patch failed, put another tube in, another puncture, legit puncture, a different spot on the tyre.
Yeah.
Patched that patch failed, and then
Dude,
put
at that
another
point-
tube in, and then we had no patches, and then I got another puncher. I got 3 legit punches in one day.
That's hilarious.
So basically ran out of tubes, and because the other boys were running tubeless, so I had these thorn-proof tubes that are really super thick and things like that, but they were in the car. So Mum was about 2 hours up the road.
Yeah.
So I basically just had my bike ready to go. I was lying on the side of the road in the middle of absolutely nowhere for like 2.5 hours.
Hell yeah.
The boys went ahead, and I just waited for Mum to get back to give me one of those tubes. So
And then patched it, jumped back on the bike, did the
just met up with the guys, and
wild.
yeah.
It's it's interesting how like independent you let yourselves become. Like you going off ahead, them going ahead without you, sort of thing.
Yep.
Interesting tactic. I understand it on the bike though. You know what I mean? Because as those guys, like it's bad for you. You got a puncture and you've got to wait for 2 hours. It's fucking horrible. We all got to wait for 2 hours.
Yeah. And there was no point in those guys waiting for me. They're better off keep going, and I'll just catch up to them. I sort of used that as a bit of a way to push my legs as well to try and catch up with them.
Yeah, bloody oath.
And then it was fine. I didn't have any issues. Obviously, just truckies going past, seeing me lying there, wearing like fluoro orange and stuff like that. You can sort of stick out and out in the middle of nowhere.
You don't want to go too far off the road either, because you don't want to become a fucking statistic of bloody snakes or something crazy, eh?
Yeah. So I just tried to pick a shady spot because it was quite warm up there and humid. So picked a shady spot, lie down, put some tunes on my phone, and just chilled out for a little bit.
Yeah, because I'm imagining there's no Instagram
No.
or no internet connection to...
No, it was just downloaded music and just sat there, and I think I might have fallen asleep at one point. I was pretty tired then, so...
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's wild. That's wild.
Just chilled, yeah.
Man, the whole experience sounds like you can fucking pack up shop now. You've got the cool experience under your belt, you know?
Oh, mate, it was life-changing for sure. Even, just the whole thing, like, we'd be at a roadhouse, man, and we'd walk in, we'd have Riding for Mental Health on our backs, and, obviously we're all in our cycle kits looking ridiculous. And then we'd walk into these roadhouses and people would be giving us cash donations and
Wild.
and talking about it. And then, these big intimidating truckies that you'd look at and you'd be like, oh, they've got no interest in mental health. Always talking to us about it, same thing, giving us cash donations. It's like, man, this is so cool.
Dude, those guys get it the most.
Yeah. We were talking to a few of them at like our lunch stops and stuff, and that would be a tough game for sure, especially out there. There's absolutely nothing. And just driving for hours and hours and hours.
And these blokes get home and their bosses turn around and send them back again.
Yeah.
You know, the shit never ends.
Yeah, and just living off like no sleep at all. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like driving a truck in a circle is very hard because obviously it's repetitive, but driving a truck where the scenery is only barely changing, but it is even harder, man. Like just sticking to that one limit, and going in a bloody straight line that's mental.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think there's heaps of potential to do some fun things that are getting Black Ink involved. Like we can make a bunch of merch, have the proceeds of that go towards the that's very cool. If people... So, sorry, did we get a direct date when your fundraising ends?
So, fundraising will end... not as yet. So, it'll be sometime next... I'd say it'll be... we will hand the money over to Kai Fella. I would say Tuesday next week.
Okay, okay. I've like coincidentally got like 3 podcasts backed up, so this probably won't... Nah, this can't, because I've got, long story.
That's okay.
This won't come out for 2 weeks or so.
That's fine.
So donations will be closed, but maybe we'll make a little story or something after this. That'll be fun.
For sure.
Yeah, sweet.
Yep. I'm just keen to talk about the whole journey and everything that went on, that's all. Haven't really opened up about it since that, so.
It's fucking cool, because you reached out to me, and just because I have so much going on, when you told me like, hey, I've just obviously finished this ride, can I come on? I was like, fucking yes, that's gold. Yeah. Yes, please do come and tell me about it.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, for sure.
That's great.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking, going back 100 conversations, you are extremely charitable. Like you're I remember that night when you and another mate came and saw me in a hotel room, and I was there with my missus and that, and you were trying to convince me to come out, and I was like, no, like I can't afford coffee, I can't afford to fucking come out, and you're like, oh, just come out, it's all good, and you fucking look after me that night for the whole night. It was nuts. I think about that all the time, hey?
Yeah, I think just the feeling of small things like that or whatever it may be, just helping people in general, man, is like the best feeling for me. It warms my heart, that's for sure.
Yeah, fucking oath.
The fact that I was able to do that with my family was life-changing for us, but also is hopefully going to be life-changing for people that actually need it, you know. So
I like what Jed takes away from this.
Yeah.
You know, having that experience at 16, dude, I want to see this kid when he's 21.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I think a lot of, like, some of the shit that really worries me being, like, you know, in my 30s and maybe thinking about starting a family and stuff like that is the family unit and the idea of, like, what's represented as being a part of a family is totally skipped these days. Like, I feel like people don't appreciate the, you know, sitting down and having dinner at the table and being forced to talk to each other and look at each other in the eye and say how you're feeling and, like, have reflection on your day. These things aren't just, like, super beneficial for you as a person and a character. It's essential as you as a human.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I think, like, obviously having that debrief thing, like, maybe that's the perfect framework for Jed's family one day when he grows up and decides to do that.
Yep.
You know, and even moving forward as a family now, I'm sure you're a lot stronger now than what you were 33 days before it happened.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Always been super family orientated. We've always had a really strong family. I think it's just, you know, the kids are growing up. They're going to be at home for a little bit longer, and then they're probably going to take off and start start discovering their own lives, sort of thing. But I think that whole side of it as well was more to show everyone, you know, how to use your mental health in a positive way.
Yep.
So, you know, to show everyone that you can. There's always a fresh start tomorrow. There's always tomorrow. You know.
Yeah.
As hard as one day may be, there's always a fresh start tomorrow.
Yeah, bloody oath.
So
bloody oath. I think you can also, like, look at that in a kind of modular sense. I always think, even on the other end of the scale, no matter how good today is, you know, like in business, you have wicked days. You have fucking horrible days as well.
Yep.
You know, like, I put so much energy and effort into this one product. It's beautiful, it presents well, it's marketed well, it goes to market, it doesn't sell. And the next day it doesn't sell, it doesn't sell, and it doesn't sell, and you think, I've got a bad business.
Yeah.
No, you had a bad product on a bad day. It's like tomorrow, you might have a shit product on the right day, and that'll make all the money you need back.
Yeah.
And it's like being able to go, no matter how good, no matter how bad the day is, it's the same noise, and tomorrow, it's like, fuck man, fresh page.
Yeah.
You know, what can you do with that?
100%. Yeah.
Maybe, I think, kind of exploring how I feel our generation thinks about things that might not be our generation, it might just be like a guy thing or a human thing, but I feel like sometimes when the past 3 days or the past 3 weeks have been shit, you're almost painting the next day with, like, it's going to be shit.
Yep.
You know, I have a shit life. I think a lot of people forget, like, you might just be having a shit time at the moment, but, like, that's just clouds. The sun comes back out always.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even when you've got 4,500 kilometers ahead of you, the sun will come out.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I think sort of mentally for myself, it wasn't an issue. It didn't matter how many Ks we were doing. To be completely honest, it was on the cards for me to ride back by myself.
Wild.
But yeah, I had to go back to reality. Had to go back to work and, you know, put my priorities first. But that's all right.
Yeah.
We'll plan something else next year.
Yeah, you just got to let your let that, what do you call it, that drive hang around for long enough. So
Yeah.
I'm thinking about it though. If we were doing 200 plus Ks a day, you almost have to be doing that regularly, like at least once a week, months beforehand.
Yeah, it's so. I guess with I've been racing motocross my whole life, so I've been sort of on a seat my whole life.
Yeah.
So because a huge thing with cycling is being able to sit on a seat for
That
8 hours a day.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yep.
So because your recovery time's you don't really have that much recovery time, but you know, you just need to get used to being able to sit on a seat for that long. So even with obviously your legs need to be seasoned as well. Like you just need to sort of put it all together. But with training for the Queensland ride, it was very minimal. Like a lot of work on a spin bike and things like that. But it's all mind over matter as well, man.
Yeah.
Like if you got a strong mental state, you can do anything.
Yeah. Yeah, agree.
Yeah.
100% agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously you need some sort of base fitness there.
Yeah.
And I feel like if with a challenge like that, with 12 days to Adelaide, you'd need to be, you'd need definitely some sort of training under your belt.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely think, like for the 2 months beforehand, you want to be taking cycling reasonably seriously. Like beyond a Saturday morning group ride, you kind of want to be living on the bike.
Yeah, you want to be doing it at least 3 or 4 times a week for sure.
Yeah.
Dedicate one day to a long ride where you do, say, 150 k's or something.
Yeah.
On a weekend, because obviously it's time consuming as well. And then the rest of it, I'm not sure.
Now I'm getting too excited about it and realising what it actually fucking means to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, bloody oath. Well, would you like to put your Instagram and Facebook handles out if people want to find you and potentially follow I'm going to say not our, but your next story that I might be involved with?
Yeah, sure thing. Yeah. So yeah, I guess my Instagram handle is just Brock Nelson _, I feel.
Yep.
And then Facebook's the same, Brock Nelson.
Was there a page for This Is Mental? No.
No, so it all just went under mine. Obviously, yeah, we just kept it reasonably tight. And yeah, that's about all I got.
Fuck yeah. And if you want to find me, it's on all the usuals. BLXCK on Instagram. Find me on Facebook. Find me on TikTok. Find me on BeReal. Find me on YouTube. Subscribe to my shit. Buy my shit. Be good to your mum, because we're fucking out. Yo!